emoji. You can just thumbs up, anything you can use. Let me know if we're together. I believe no one can hear me then. Okay, okay. Thank you. Okay. Can we just turn on our cameras? Let's just see ourselves a few minutes and we'll continue. At least if you see me on the road, we can greet ourselves. If I see you, I can greet you properly. If you do not mind. I'm turning on mine now. Oh, wow. Oh, okay, this is me. Just in case we meet. Okay. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Chinedu. Yeah, it's very okay. It's our country. We know the peculiar situation here. Yes. Okay. Thank you for joining today. Um, I apologize. I was not able to make it for Wednesday. I had planned to, but I had something official that came up, so I had to be in for a meeting throughout that day. And the host was generous enough to reschedule it to today being Saturday. So thank you for joining, and I hope you accept my apologies. You can always unmute and talk, so just know we are following or we are together at least.
Apology accepted, sir. Let's go on, sir.
Thank you. At least I have the morale to carry on now. Okay. Um, Probably I would have loved to talk about this from what I was saying, a finance perspective per se. But again, while preparing to have this discussion with all of us, I was really not moved to talk about it from the finance perspective anymore. Probably is a prompting of the Holy Spirit, and I'm a Christian, and I believe many of us here are Christians. So permit me, if you will be doing a little of scripture delving, reading, and then just trying to have a good grasp of what we are going to discuss today. So in between the discussion we are going to have, I don't want to call it, I'm not talking to you, I'm having a discussion with everyone here. We can also share ideas. I may have a little knowledge on finance. It doesn't mean I know everything. I just know a very little fraction. And I believe we should be closing this meeting around 9:30 thereabout. So I'll just try as much as possible to be brief. We can have this talk in probably 20 to 30 minutes if time allows us, and then the room will be open for questions and answers. We can attend to that as well. I hope that's okay by all of us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So once again, my name is Kizito. I'm really not a senior person. I'm a staff of the bank, Fidelity Bank PLC. Though it wasn't a dream career per se, but sometimes you plan yourself, the country will plan you. But hey, I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying what I do. Yeah, so let's get to it. We're supposed to be discussing finance, aligning our purpose with prosperity, right? So it's a bit tricky, but it's not tricky. I'll start by saying finance, money is very important. We cannot deny the importance of finance in our day-to-day life. You go to the church, you use finance. To go to school, you need finance. To eat food, you need finance. To appear good, you need finance. A lot of things depends on money. And if you see the scriptures, that's why God said you cannot serve both God and mammon. That is very profound, it's very deep. It tells you that probably after God, the next thing people worship is money. So you cannot afford to be a servant of God and a servant of money at the same time. One has to rule, and most times, whatever you feed the most attention to will rule you. So we're trying to lay a basis for this discussion this evening, aligning purpose with financial prosperity. So you need some kind of clarity to understand what finance is. Just like fire, right? Finance is a good servant, but a very bad master. Money, let me put it in perspective. Money can be a very bad master, but a very, very good servant if you know how to use money well. And there is a purpose. There is a purpose for your finance. There is a purpose for money. So you must align yourself with that purpose. If not, the money is going to become nonsense to you at the end of the day. A lot of persons who've gotten to the peak of financial success in life, at the end of the day, it becomes nonsense to them because at the end of the day, they have not aligned it with purpose. There is no clarity. So just a case of grabbing and grabbing and grabbing and grabbing and grabbing and grabbing. And at the end of the day, it makes no sense to them. They come to nothingness because they are not able to find a purpose in whatever they have accumulated. So in the process of making money, you must also be thinking, why do I need money? You don't really need money for just yourself. You do not need money because you want to wear the best clothes, you want to be able to afford the best luxury cars, you want to be able to take your children to school and all of that. There is a purpose, there's a higher purpose in the calling to have money. It's more like a stewardship. Money is given to you, you become a steward of that money. What you do with it matters. That is why you have to be careful how and where you make money from. So that will take me to a brief introduction. I'll take it from um, 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 2, that it is required in stewards that a man be found faithful. I've said it that money, you're just a steward of money. You're just holding that money, you're just being a steward. Forget about anything you think it's my money, I struggled for this and all of that. You are just a steward of money. That means you're going to have a direction whenever you make money and what it is to be used for. Right? You need to, it's not just about money management, but it's about understanding God's purpose for the resources that you've been entrusted with. Prosperity, in this sense, is not materialism, it is not greed, it's not aggrandizement. It's just about fruitfulness and faithful stewardship to God. So, permit me that, like I said before I started, that it's going to have a bit of religious undertone. I'm going to throw in one or two knowledge I have on finance, but let's have in mind that we're doing a kind of exposure to understand why money, why finance, and why do I have to be careful how I use money? Why do I have to know how I make money? And then we're going to also talk about how do I make this money? How do I make this money? I listened in when my brother was talking about when he wanted to start a business and all, getting a lot of kickbacks. It wasn't easy really coming on. And then, for anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur here, just have your mind prepared that you're going to have almost a similar story, except for few persons who already have sponsors. You have investors, or what we call the angel investors, people who just pick up what you want to do and, oh, I like your idea, I want to invest in it. A lot of persons are going to actually have to struggle from the scratch, but someone actually has to give you a hand and help you. Money. You need money to be comfortable in life. You need money to, ensure that you're able to meet your needs as at when due, right? But there is a higher calling for money. That is why whatever money you make, I advise you have to always pray, God, how do you want me to use this resource that you have entrusted unto me? How do you want me to use this resource? Because once it gets into your head and then you see, oh, I have a lot of money, you become like that foolish man that God just in the parable of the rich fool. You know what God said to him? Oh, after gathering a large harvest and all, he said, now I'm going to tear down these barns and build new ones. And, I tell myself, rest my soul, for you have a lot. But that night, a demand was made for his soul. He had forgotten the purpose of money. He had forgotten that he had to ask God for why, that particular why. Why do I need money? Why is this money here at this point? And what should I be doing with this money? So let's break it down. Having financial clarity is having a God-centered vision for your finances. This means what you have, where does it go, and how does it serve God's will in your life? In our time now, we're talking of pressure, pressure everywhere. Um, you see your friend having one car, he has so-called investments here and there, and then you are not asking the right questions. You begin to pressure yourself because you see a lot of things going on. Oh, it seems like my own is not moving forward and all of that. That is not clarity at all. It's not financial clarity at all. You have entered the trap of um, greed, selfishness, and then you have blurred out your purpose. Once you begin to compare yourself with people, oh, how did this person get this, and why is this seeming like it cannot be me and all, you begin to blow out that purpose. Begin to blow out your financial clarity. So, first of all, you need to understand that there is a purpose for money and it is God given. I don't want to take out the God factor in this. It is God given. There is a God given reason for money. So, what you have, where it goes, and how is it going to serve God's will in my life? So, what are we saying? First thing, we all have money. You have to agree with me on that. I have to tell you that we all have money, right? What you need to do is you need to do an audit of your finance. You need to do an audit of your finance. You know, how do you spend, right? What are your financial goals, whether long term or short term? What are you looking at? When you're able to answer some questions, how you spend your money begins to make more sense to you. You begin to have more control on it. You don't just get a little sum of money and then the next thing you're thinking is, how am I going to blow this money? How am I going to enjoy it? And all of that. No, that's not how it works. If you behave that way with money, trust me, you're not going to have a lot of money. You need to audit your finance. That is not you being stingy. It's not you being miserly. It's not you being too careful. You just need to audit your finance. When you use what God has given you anyhow, you will pay the price for it, because there comes a time of drought, there comes a time of famine, and what you have saved is what helps you at that point. If you check the story of Joseph in the Bible, what happened? He had a dream. The king had a dream and he interpreted that dream, and he was able to tell the king, let's do this, let's store up grains because a great famine is going to come upon the land. And then after that, carried out all of that, and everyone was coming to Egypt. So the question is, do you want to be the person that people come to for financial help, or do you want to be the one looking for financial help? It's an important question you need to ask yourself. Because as for me, I want to be the one that is giving. I don't want to be the one that is always receiving. So you need to ask yourself, what do I want to be? Do I want to be the Egypt that people are running to for grain? And what steps am I taking to become that Egypt? Secondly, do I want to be the one that is running to people for help? Don't get me wrong. It is good to ask for help, and please, by all means, ask for help when you need help, because At one point or the other in life, we're all going to need the help of somebody. No one has climbed up there all by himself. What I'm saying is, you don't turn yourself into a pest. You don't turn yourself into a perpetual beggar. You get to a point where they teach you how to fish, and then you cannot have that ability to, on your own, generate revenue, generate finance for yourself, and be self sufficient. Not without God, of course. The only self sufficient person we know is God, but some level of financial independence, you need to build it. So ask yourself that question. If we are together, can you can just unmute and say we are together, or I am with you. Just unmute and say I'm with you. I've spoken for about 10 minutes thereabout. If you are with me, you can just unmute and say I'm with you. So let's be sure we are carrying ourselves together along.
Yeah, it is, sir.
Abraham, are you there? Miriam, are you there? Okay. Seems we have some persons who are not there. Angela.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So I want to tell you something. You can write it down if you want to. That prosperity without purpose is going to lead you to emptiness. So if there is no purpose without stewardship, you're just going to struggle. We have a lot of rich persons who are very depressed. I can tell you the facts. We have a lot of rich persons, wealthy persons who are really, really depressed. So prosperity without purpose is going to lead you to emptiness. Like I said from the beginning, you can gather and gather and gather, and then at the end of it, when you get to the peak, you discover that you did not have a purpose. So one thing you should do today is sit down and ask yourself, what is my purpose? And only God can actually help you to answer that question. It's a very, very, very important question. When you answer that, what is my purpose? You now begin to ask yourself, what are my financial goals? What do I want to have that kind of money that Elon Musk has, Bill Gates has? Is that the kind of money I want to have? Do I want to have the kind of money that, oh, I'm okay, I'm not too rich and I'm not too poor, so that I'll not bring disgrace to God? Neither am I too rich that I forget that God owns everything that I have. So you need to ask yourself, what are my financial goals and what is my purpose in life? Then, when you ask yourself this question, you begin to align yourself gradually. Your financial goals will begin to align themselves to what you've discovered that it's your purpose. What is the purpose for you? How can you align it with your finance so that your financial goals and your purpose in life, they are in the same they are not just on a parallel line where they are not going to meet. They need to be together. So just put it as though they were two sides of a coin. So your financial purpose and your purpose, your financial goals and your purpose, sorry, they have to align. They have to be together so you can make serious progress, and then you can be one who can be said to have financial clarity. Okay, so um, I'll take I'll take some biblical principles for you. I'm also talking to myself, right? Some biblical principles that I want us to think deeply about. You need to think deeply about them. And then if you begin to apply them gradually, you're going to see it may not be immediate, but little by little and with consistency, you're going to see a lot of change in your finance, because you need to change how you see things so that what you see begins to change. If we're together, just say we're together. So we continue. Mark Newzo, are you there?
Yeah, so I'm here. We're together.
Okay. Miriam Enemaku, are you there?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm here.
Abraham Angela. Okay, 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 nice. You can note it down. The first thing I want you to notice, you need to work diligently. You can note that down. you need to work diligently. There are a lot of biblical texts to working diligently. A lot of them. You can make some research on that. Work diligently. Work diligently. The second one I want you to note is you need to live within your means. You need to live within your means. The third one I want you to notice you need to give generously. Giving generously. Third, the fourth one I want you to note you need to avoid debt traps. Debt, as in DEBT, owing of money, is a trap. You need to avoid it as much as possible. Avoiding debt traps. You need to avoid them. And the last one I want you to note is you need to plan wisely and you need to save. Plan wisely and save. So, this is the importance of working diligently. I think it's St. Paul that wrote that whatever you find yourself doing, do it diligently as though you were doing it to God. If you find yourself serving your master, do it as though you were offering that service to God. Because yes, at that point, that person is God's figure in your life. So when you look at whatever responsibility, whatever job you are doing, when you look at it from that angle, it begins to make a lot of sense that you work diligently. If it falls your lot to sweep the streets, sweep that street as though that was the most important job in your life, the most important job on earth. It may seem like normal talk. Oh, yeah, we've heard this. I know. I mean, it's easy to say and all of that. Truth. It's very easy to say and very hard to follow through. But I want to encourage you. Whatever you find your hand doing, do it as if it was the most important thing in life at that point. You see, one thing you do not know is people observe you. Your boss will observe you. Your colleagues will observe you. Even your enemies will observe you. That this person is a diligent person. He does not play with his job. She does not play with her job. Whatever you give this person to do, this person is going to deliver on it. Reliability. This person is diligent, is reliable, whatever it is. Take it to this person. They will not call their friends. If an opportunity comes up, they are not going to call their friends. They know that their friends are not diligent. They will refer you as much as they are not in good terms with you or anything. When someone asks for, I need somebody that is going to be able to deliver something in 24 hours of high quality, and the person is going to be trustworthy and reliable, they will call your name. They will not call their friend. That's the truth. Because they know if they refer somebody that is not going to do it, they will not have that opportunity to be able to refer another person another time. So most persons, even your enemies, will refer you if they know that you are diligent. And that is how you grow referrals. People begin to say, this person can do this, he can do that, and the work is perfect, this person is reliable, and before you know, you have a lot of referrals. In fact, you have your hands full and you begin to say, let me decline this, I can't do this, I can't meet up with this. The second thing I asked you to notice, live within your means. Live within your means. When we were in secondary school, we had one senior then. His elder brother was a tailor, a well-known fashion designer. So he was wearing the most expensive clothes, designer clothes, and all of that. And then I noticed in that same class that there was another guy. He was trying to meet up and match up, he would try and wear good clothes and all of that. But I knew his background was not so financially okay. So I was wondering how he was managing to do all of those stuff. I knew he was secretly competing with a guy whose brother was a fashion designer. And then I knew this guy was going to run into some financial trouble. I think I was in SS2 Street. I saw him, saw the person. wear very expensive clothes, he himself will just try and get that kind of clothes too, trying to meet up. And at the end of the day, I just saw that it was folly, it was foolishness. This person was not spending one dime of his money. His brother was probably sewing the clothes and using him to model it, test the clothes and all of that. But he was spending every dime he had on clothes to make sure he looked like the other person. Clearly, he was not living within his means. In our normal parlance, we'll say cut your coat according to your size. It is very, very, very relevant. Very relevant. You must cut your coat according to your size. Because if you are seeing, let's say, 10,000 as a weekly thing or a monthly thing, and then you begin to do expenses in a month that is touring almost 50,000 thereabouts, you begin to ask yourself very important questions, and you discover that you are not being wise with your finance, and you are not serving the God-given purpose of the finance that you have currently. And if God cannot trust you with small things, He's definitely not going to trust you with big things. So you can as well as stop praying and stop crying yourself to sleep. You need to handle the small thing that you have by living within your means. Don't try to impress, don't try to live above what you can afford at a particular time. Always stay within the confines of your means. Then that takes us to the third thing: give generously. Give generously. It is a kingdom principle. Whether you are a Christian, you are a Buddhist, whatever it is a kingdom principle. You cannot have and not give. If you look at this hand, it is folded. Because it is folded, nothing can come in. But if this hand is open, as it is coming in, it is bouncing off to many other sources or many other channels. And because of that, I can receive too. So if you are a person that you receive and then you just keep it, how am I going to do? This one that I've seen, let me keep it. Oh, I don't know when next time we see another one. Honestly, you're going to have a lot of problems. You are really going to have a lot of problems. So you have to give generously. Give generously. Whatever you make, I want to just put it in your mind. Have it like a very handy thing you can call on. I want to tell you today, if you've not heard it before, whatever you have is not yours. Always ask God for direction. Always ask God for direction. This thing I have, it is not mine. Ask God for direction. How should I spend this? The rivers, they do not drink themselves. The trees that has fruits, they are not the ones that eat the fruits. If all of these things that nature is showing us to learn, we are not learning from it, then I wonder what we will learn from. Remember, nothing that we have is our own. The spiritual gifts we have, the talents we have, our finance we have is really not our own. If it is not serving the purpose of gifting to your neighbor, gifting to people around you, it is really not serving any purpose. If it is just your money is about you and you alone, there is nobody that can call you, that can have the confidence to call you, and you will pick up the call and, okay, let me see what I can do. And then you're able to help people. Know that you are not serving God's purpose in your life. Money is not serving the purpose it should serve in your life. You must, as a matter of fact, remember that whatever you have, a portion of it is not for you. The Christians will say give 10% of your tithes. There are many people who pay more than 10% of their tithes. Sometimes they do not even give it to the church. They find people who are in need and they're able to help such persons. Always remember, you need to give generously. It is very important. I know why I have to stress this, because once your money is not about giving back to people, giving back to your society, you are facing an extreme position where you can begin to lack extremely, because the source of it says that this thing I'm giving you, it is not for you alone. So if you decide to hold it back, the source is going to dry up. You might as well take this as a very serious principle, that whatever I have, I must give a portion of it back to people who need it. And that is why I'm staying on this place a lot. I'm going to stay here so that you understand why you must give back. You see, some persons are not Christians, they have a lot of money. They have a lot of money. And they're not just keeping that money to themselves. They are not Christians. Jesus did not tell them to pay tithes because they do not believe in Jesus, they do not believe in God and all of that. But if you know what they give back to the society, they give back a whole lot. So if your money is just about you and you alone, you might as well remove your mind from it. You are not going to go find finance. You're not going to go find finance. You're probably going to get very stuck. You will just notice that what you have is what you have. You're not going forward. If you are not so lucky, you might see yourself retrogressing. You just see your finance moving backwards and backwards. So if you must make advance with your finance, then you must remember that what you have is really not your own. You have to be able to give generously to people who need. There are lots of persons around you who need. And I will borrow a quote that no one is too poor that they cannot give, and no one is so rich that they cannot receive. Now, I'm not asking you to give like a fool. You can fall into the trap of, oh, because I'm asked to give, and then someone is there keeping his savings, and then you have to take from your savings and be giving someone who is not ready to touch his own savings. That's not the kind of giving we are talking. If you allow God to direct you, you will know how to give, and you will know when to give and who to give. So don't become foolish because, oh, I want to give, then everything you have, you just give it. No, you have to save for the rainy days. Really, you have to save for the rainy days. Probably try and be reading the book of Proverbs. It will teach you a lot why you need to save. Even the ants, they will gather. I think that's Proverbs chapter 6. Even the ants, they will have to gather because they know a time will come they will not have enough. So what they gather and store up in their homes, that is what they will go back to. It leads me to the next one I want to talk. Plan your finance. Audit your finance. Plan your finance. I can't remember what I told you to write down on that, but I want you to plan your finance. Whatever money that comes to you, please plan it. Don't be careless about your finance. Don't be reckless about your finance. Plan your finance, because if you do not plan it, you will end up begging. If you do not plan your finance, you end up begging. Our time is very good that we have a lot of applications you can even use to track your app. I, for one, I use an app called Monify. I use it to track my expenses month in, month out. So once I get my pay from my job or I get any extra income, I put it into the application, and I want to know how much do I have currently at this time. And then it's apportions. Oh, you are using so amount for your utilities, for the bills you pay at home. You've gifted XYZ amounts of money. You've gifted 1,000 already today. You are spending too much on eating. You're eating out a lot. Why not cook at home? Those things, I begin to audit my finance so that I will know where my money is. Where is my financial leakage, income leakage? Where is it happening? Where is it leaking from? So because I'm able to audit it, I know that, oh, probably this eating out, I'm eating out. The last time I bought stuff and made food at home, and then it lasted me for 3 days. So I saved 2,000 from that particular act of not eating out. Maybe if I have to eat out 2 times a day, I'll be spending almost 10,000 eating out, for instance. And then I decide to cook with 5,000, and 5,000 takes me for 3 days. I must have saved a lot of money, and that money I can begin to save it. So you need to audit your finance, because if the little one you have, you cannot audit it, plan it well, you're going to have a lot of problems. If you are working and then you know that you are going to be paid 50,000 at the end of the month, minimum wage is 70,000. Let's take it at 70,000, and you know you have to get 70,000 at the end of the month as your pay. How have you planned that money for the month? If you are going to pay tithes, oh, let me take out 7,000 to pay my tithes. If I'm going to stock up my house, I need 20,000 to stock up my house. All of those things you need to do. You need to save up, you need to plan. And then if you are working, I want to give you a principle that works very well. A portion of your salary, once you get your salary, your remuneration, whatever it is, if you are working, a portion of your upkeep money, if you are a student, whatever money you get, take out some money and pay yourself. I learned it when I started working in the bank. Take out a portion of your money and pay yourself. meaning that money you are taking out, you are keeping it aside. You can have 2 to 3 accounts. Keep that money aside. If it is 10,000 you are keeping aside for a year, you know you will have 120,000 at the end of the year. Money that you know you did not touch, you are keeping aside. So pay yourself. Whatever money you get, pay yourself. I will take an additional one. Learn how to invest. Learn how to invest. It's not every money you have that is enjoyment. Learn how to invest. Whatever money you get, invest a portion of it. It could be 10%, it could be 5%. Take out a portion of your money and invest. Remember what we said at the beginning, there's a purpose for money, and it is a God-given purpose. You are just a steward. That money you have is not your own. You are merely a steward of it. So ensure you are a good steward of the money that has been given to you. The next thing, you need to understand their basic principles to get money. There are basic principles to get money, and I've listed them already. We've talked about them. You need to work diligently. People need to know that you can be trusted, you are reliable. When you're giving something, you can deliver on it, all of that. We spoke about giving it generously. You need to give generously, and we spoke about planning your finance and investing in it wisely. I would like to just stop at this point because I know you might have 1 or 2 questions you want to ask, probably outside the plenty of reference to the scriptures. Probably you have some questions you want to ask. Maybe you also want us to just give some hints on what you can do and all of that for finance. You may want to ask such questions. So it's just 2 minutes to 9, so we can quickly address that. And probably from there, we'd even have 1 or 2 things to still talk about. So we have maximum gain from whatever we have done today. And then I believe if we're able to practice whatever we talked about today, you will see some changes. Maybe not significant at the point, but eventually and gradually, if you practice them consistently, I can bet you will not be where you are. In 2 years, you will see that there's a lot of change in your finance. You will see that you are better off for it. So, I don't know if you have your questions, you can ask at this point, maybe from things I've said or from things you've had in your mind, confusion from your finance. You can just ask your questions so we can address them. Thank you for listening. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I really, yes, sir. Thank you for the training. I really appreciate it. You're very strong and mighty one. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
my question is, my question is that let me use myself because I know that I've been facing some challenges about financial issue like this because since my last work and that since that time when I have little money, once the money is coming and going, they say it's nothing. And now I'm trying all my best now because I'm actually a network marketer. I'm no more in Lokoja again. I'm in a few states. So I'm trying all my best to be able to save money. And I found out that once there is a place that when you reach like this, all your money you save, you now come and spend it again. There's not start afresh. So that thing, I don't really, many a times when I sit down, I calculate and say that, whether is this a spirit or what? I don't know what's going on. So the thing it has been bothering me. I was always speaking to my mentors around here, but they are not giving me concrete reason of what is going on.
Okay. Are you done?
Yes, sir, I'm done, sir.
Okay. Thank you for that question. I'll like
forgotten that person.
Thanks, Gerald. Mark Nizo. As Mark Nizo. Um, it was Miriam too. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Um, what's your salary range like?
Let me, sometimes in a month, here, get more than that. But let me just say the average of 50,000.
Five
But many
zero,
a times
right?
we get
Fifty
more than that.
thousand.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
So are you living alone? Like, do you rent? Do you patch up with someone? How are you? Is it Oshun or Ogun? I'm not sure I got that right.
The Ocean State, and I'm living alone.
Okay. Can you do something this month that we are in this month from tomorrow from Monday? Monday. Can you do something?
Okay, sir.
Can you do something?
Okay, sir.